heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people. Hello friends, welcome to 3ABN. My name is John Lomacang, but if you've returned, if you've been a part of our family, you already know that. But if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the station that we believe the Lord chose and anointed to carry an undiluted three angels' messages, one that will counteract the counterfeit, in the quote of our founder and president, Danny Shelton. Amen. We want to thank you for your prayers and your financial support of this network, which continues to go and grow, preparing a world for the soon coming of our blessed Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. And today is a program that's going to encourage you on how you can get involved to get this program out. You know, the Lord doesn't call just pastors and elders and teachers and professionals, as it were, but He calls the laity to carry the gospel to the world. And to the community in which you live, you can make a significant impact. And our guests today are going to share on how the Lord has chosen them and what He has done through them. You know, the Bible says, "For it is God who works in us both to will and to do of His good pleasure." Amen. So do stay tuned. We know that it is going to be inspiring for you and maybe put a seed of hope or activity in your life, how you can get involved in getting others ready for the coming of our Lord. But before we do that, we have some music. Tammy Chance, one of our very own, is going to sing a song entitled "Because of Who You Are."
You spoke the words and all the worlds came into order. You raised your hands and planets filled the empty skies. You placed a woman and a man inside the garden. And though they felt, they found compassion in your eyes. I stand amazed at the wonder of it all. Yet a greater wonder brings me to my knees. Lord, I praise you because of who you are, not for all the mighty deeds that you have done. Lord, I worship you. It's all the reason that I need to voice my praise, because of who you are. One holy night you sent your promise from a virgin, and promise grew till He revealed to us your heart. Endearing love displayed throughout your crucifixion, and through your death you tore the darkened grave apart. Oh Lord, I stand amazed at the wonder of it all. Yet a greater wonder brings me to my knees. Lord, I praise you because of who you are, not for all the mighty deeds that you have done. Lord, I worship you because of who you are. You're all the reason that I need to voice my praise. Lord, I praise you because of who you are, not for all the mighty deeds that you have done. Lord, I worship you because of who you are. You're all the reason that I need to voice my praise because of who you are, because of who you are, because of who you are.
Thank you so much, Tammy. What a wonderful song, because of who you are, because of who God is, because of who Christ is, we can be who He has called us to be. And thank you so much for that message. Now let's meet our guest today. We have next to me Marcia Harycki. Good to have you here, Marcia.
Thank you.
And then Orv, say that last name.
Gauger.
Gauger. And then we have Michelle Larson. Good to see you over there, Michelle.
Hi.
And each of you is from the Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church. But just kind of tell us in a nutshell what you do and kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, for like right now at church?
Sure.
I'm a member.
That's it?
A working member.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot. That's a lot to say because many people are members but not working members.
Yes, sir.
And Orv?
Well, my name is Orv Gauger, and I'm from the same church, Chippewa Valley, and we are a working team together.
Amen.
Okay, husband and wife, to be exact.
40 years almost.
40 years,
40 years
39,
almost.
39 years, yeah.
Wow, wonderful. And Michelle?
I'm currently serving as the Community Services Director for the Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Okay. And the Lord inspired each of you to do something that has now become a significant part of the outreach of your church. Let's talk about that. You were watching a program on 3ABN, and just begin with that, what the Lord did when He inspired you to do something about what you saw on 3ABN.
We want to thank 3ABN because it's been a source of real blessings in our own personal lives and in their church lives. And a few months ago, we saw a program with Remnant Publications, Amazing Facts, and 3ABN together, which partnered in writing, producing, and advertising the book on the movie that had come out a couple months ago, Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
And when we turned off the TV, we realized it was just too good an opportunity to pass by. And so we just kind of like took it and ran with it, and in the end, God turned it into something greater than we ever thought would happen.
Wow. Well, tell us how you ran with it. Any one of you could input in that story. How did you run with it, and what did you actually do? Did you say, we have to do something, and how did you follow through on that?
Well, the first thing we did is we needed to get somebody else on board, which is our good friends Kayla and Tim Hayes.
Okay.
And once we decided that it was just something we needed to do, I think we put in the order to Remnant Publications for a couple cases first. And then we went to the local church and said, maybe you're doing something here and we should coordinate between ourselves and the local church. And they were just totally 100% on board. The elders and pastor were just fabulous. And in the meantime, our friend Kayla had an acquaintance with the owners of the local theater, and she set up an appointment for Orv and I to go and meet them, and they were just welcomed us with open arms. And so it just developed into a project that it went on for almost 3 months between their venue in one town and then the neighboring town, which Michelle took care of.
Okay.
So that's it in a nutshell, and I can give you a lot more wonderful details here too.
Sure. Well, let me let Michelle go ahead and chime in on that. Tell us about your involvement in that.
Well, I got involved after they presented it to the church and asked for involvement, and I loved the idea because they were tying into something current and that people could, in the community, because I think sometimes we're too isolated within the church. And so I signed up to help pass out books for a couple of different nights. And then when it came to the second venue, which happened to be a half a mile from my house, then I took charge of the second venue.
Now, did they let you set up inside the theater, outside the theater, or just pass out books when people went in or came out?
Would you like to look at the pictures now? And you'll be able to see that.
Let's look at that.
Well, the
Some
first
Hacksaw
picture,
Ridge,
the first picture that we have is there's our friend Kayla Hayes on the left, and Kayla was the other person that actually spearheaded this. And that was a picture of how they set up at one point in the theater itself. The owners were just absolutely, they were wonderful. They're just so sweet. They had like about eight little different movie theaters in there, you know, so like we set the table up right where the people exited the movie, Hacksaw Ridge.
Okay.
And so like as they came out the movie, that's what they saw. They saw a display of books. And I'll show you the second picture now. The second picture is where we moved our table to, and those are a couple of folks that handed out the books. And then let's show the third picture now. And okay, there's Orv and myself, and it was the holiday season for part of the program.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
And you can see the holiday decor there. And if you can look up, you know, on the posters there, this actually turned into a fundraising. But that was the idea of the owners. The owners said, well, you know, sure, you can give out the books, and you can, they thought we were going to sell them. And their suggestion is, well, let's maybe give $1 of each book, and we'll give it to a charity. And we said,
no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're going to give them away.
Yeah, we're going to give them away. And then we selected a charity, and the charity was selected was
the Homeless Veterans Fund, which is a facility they have in Chippewa Falls. And most people don't know about that. And
so the owner decided to, hey, just why don't you make this a bigger project than you've anticipated?
More than we imagined.
The county, she's very, very community orientated.
Yes.
And we wanted to be part of that. We was kind of surprised that she says, well, would you like to raise, you know, some money? And we kind of like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, let's do that.
How much did we raise?
$3,700.
$3,700.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
And you took the checks out there.
And I took the check out there, and I met the man Phil, who runs the homeless shelter, and he was really happy, and he says, "I hope we'll see you soon."
Yes.
So we've been back since. So
okay.
Yeah.
And Michelle, talk about your involvement, because this kind of opened the door for you to just kind of expand your involvement in the church and in the community. Talk about that.
Well, I think it was, again, a good tie-in with the veteran shelter and the movie, where, you know, it was such a good connection between the two. And in handing out the books, it was, I'm not a person who can evangelize. I'm not really good at public speaking, but and I think that was for some of the other volunteers as well, because you just had to give somebody something, and then, you know, we were taking donations, and that's a lot easier than
preaching a sermon.
Right, you know, and exactly. And so even the first night that I went to hand out a book, the first person to come out of the theater that I was able to give a book to was a colleague that I had worked with many years before, and he used to make comments about Bible thumpers. And he was the first person I was able to hand a book to. So
was he surprised?
Yeah, he was very surprised.
He said, "Michelle, what are you doing here?"
Well, you know, and he took the book, and you know, so it was those kind of things. And when we were at the Chippewa location, every night that I was there, I saw somebody I knew that I could hand a book to.
Amen, yes.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of incredible.
So it was building bridges to the community. A lot of times we try to do what we can to get people to come to our church, but you know, you mentioned something which has become a part of 3ABN's a mission. The blessing is on the
goal.
On the go.
Go and get to work.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that has been a tremendous blessing to the ministry of 3ABN. And if you've been a part of that, you know that the blessings on the go. Go evangelism. Because it's not come evangelism, but go evangelism. Come to the foot of the cross, as Danny would say, and then go and share the gospel. And it's not that difficult. I mean, the book that we're talking about here is the Hacksaw Ridge book, which many of you may have seen through the programs done here on 3ABN. There's a copy of it. Wonderful. And the postscript is written by Pastor Doug Batchelor, which a lot of people don't realize. Just through this book, it not only tells the story of Desmond Doss, but it also exposes people to the God he served, to the church he was a member of, and then it just opens doors for people to understand a message that they would not otherwise even entertain. I mean, how many evangelistic series have been held in the movie theater?
None.
None.
Oh.
But this allowed you to do that.
It was incredible. Can you imagine? I'm not a big movie goer, and but yet you would walk in there and you'd see people walking around inside a movie theater, coming out of movies, and they were holding evangelistic literature in their hand, and it was just such a strange sight. It was beautiful. We gave out 1,381 books at both venues.
Yeah. Wow.
We were there 55 nights total. And
Wow.
we had 36 men, women, and children participate, and there were kids there.
Yep, there were kids.
And these are people that wouldn't necessarily have wanted to do something, except it was so easy. We made it so easy. Who's not going to resist saying, like, here we have a free book about the hero of Hacksaw Ridge, and by the way, if you'd like to donate to the Chippewa Falls Homeless Veteran Shelter, you can. We had people in the movie theater put in $100 bills, $50 bills, $20 bills. It was just, it was so wonderful to give people the opportunity to show their appreciation. They came out of the movie, there was a certain set of thoughts on their mind, and they were able to respond to it by donating to homeless veterans. We even gave out these little pins here. Isn't that
Yes, yes, I like that.
They were actually sent
Thank you
from
for supporting. It says thank you for supporting the
movie.
film and celebrating Veterans Day.
Yeah.
This is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Limited edition pin
Yeah.
for Hacksaw Ridge. There it is.
That's for
And,
you.
Thank you. Hey, I have my first flag to salute here, but
All right.
I tell you, the life of Desmond Doss has been such an inspiration. Isn't it amazing? It reminds me of the text in Revelation 14:13. You know, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord,
Amen.
that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And even in the silence, Desmond Doss continues to speak of the God he served, and the countless lives through the project of Hacksaw Ridge books. And thank you for Remnant Publications.
Yes.
And for Pastor Batchelor, who contributed to that, and also the beauty of the message that's included there.
Amen.
Now, you showed me 3 pictures about Hacksaw Ridge. Is there another one?
Oh, this one is
yes.
really fun.
This is
Yes,
the
go
best
ahead.
one. This is the best one.
Okay.
Okay.
Now this one has quite a story to it, because there's, how many cases did we have? I can't
14.
even remember. 14 cases of books. I kept the
Look at that.
boxes because it was just so impressive seeing them outside our door. And then we'd have another box of books come in, and we think, oh, when are we going to get these
I love
out?
this picture.
And so those are the folks, we told everybody to get in the picture if they passed out books, wanted to pass out books, prayed
Pray
for
for a
us,
book,
or
yeah.
were happy we passed out books. So Pastor had us take, Pastor Poitovan's in there.
Okay.
He had us take a picture at the end of church. And, you know, this is really interesting, Pastor Lomacang, because if you look at that picture again, look at those big signs, okay?
Okay, let's see that one.
Okay, it says 3181 raised to that point. It
Right.
went up as Michelle took it to the next venue. And it was only 1,162 books, and then it went up as Michelle worked on it. And, you know, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a little sign like that? And so you have a concept in your mind, and you think, I was thinking, little sheet about so big, you know, how they do on Facebook.
Right.
Can I get an amen? And so I said, Kayla, could you do that? And Kayla made these absolutely gorgeous signs that she painted. She was the other person that really worked on this with you know, to get things going and
Right.
organized. And it's just a thought in my mind that, like, you know, you have an idea in your mind, but you pass it on to somebody else. And, you know, because of them and their talents and their attitude and their vision, it turns into something much better than you ever could have imagined yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wonderful part of getting a church to work together, because you don't know the talents and the skills and the ideas that they have and that the Holy Spirit is going to give them until you see it. And I looked at those signs and I went, those are wow. Those are really nice.
My favorite sign is, can we get an amen?
Yeah, amen.
You know, pastors love that.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
But that was amazing. But you've said a number of times, Michelle took it to the next level. Talk about that.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. The theater owners have 2 theaters, one in Chippewa Falls and one in Eau Claire. And so when it came time to come, and the one in Eau Claire is like the second run theater that it comes to. So when it finished, and again, it was half a mile from my house, so I figured, you know, I might as well take it from these guys so they didn't have to run all the way down there. And so I spent a lot of nights down there with some of our church members as well, and some of the nights I was down there alone, and just reaching out to people at the second run theater, and we had a really a good response. There were a couple of times a person would take the book, you know, if they got there early, maybe got their popcorn, they'd take the book and go into the theater, and they'd come back 5 or 10 minutes later and say, why are you doing this? And, you know, so I was able to explain to them the story of Desmond Doss and his affiliation with our church, and we just thought it was a good story to share with people. So, you know, it was really a good experience. I think overall.
What about the transformation that you experienced? Because as you mentioned, you don't strike me as a type A, stand on top of the box preacher. Repent,
not
the
really.
world is coming to an end. You know, you don't strike me as that kind of an individual, but I could see the transformation. Not knowing you before, I could see that this really did impact you in a beautiful way.
It really did. You know, my primary focus is community service, where
Right.
you know, we're simply serving people without you know, evangelizing, or, you know, which I think are both very important, but they have separate roles. And so service has always been kind of my focus. But again, the way this project tied the two together, and it wasn't really threatening, even for someone like me who tends to be a little more introverted, to go in and just say, hey, we've got this book and it's a great story. And so it really was, yeah, it was transforming, I think, for a few other people within the church as well, who stepped up to hand out the books and maybe thought that they couldn't do something like this, but were really good at it.
You know, you meet people at an intersection of life,
Amen.
coming and going, and you never know if you're going to see them again, but at least you've increased the possibilities of seeing them again, because you can't just read the book without going to the end and talk about the faith that shaped the man. I love that.
Right.
There's a section called Prepare to Meet Your Maker.
Yeah.
And it talks about the ultimate sacrifice. Wonderful Bible studies in the section, The Faith That Shaped the Man. And significant studies are included in there to help people understand why Desmond Doss was so passionately convinced that I am not going to carry a weapon. I am not going to carry a weapon. I don't believe I need to carry one. I don't want to take lives. I want to preserve lives. I want to spare lives. But you've been the quiet man out today. Tell us about your involvement in this, Orv.
What really was exciting was when people would come back the second time, third time, and see us and thank us for doing this.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a blessing.
And come and ask for more books.
And come and ask for more books,
Right.
and give more money.
Yes.
It got to the point where you didn't have to really ask. They seen there's a big purple donation box, and they would just reach out and then they would put it in. Like Marcia was saying, you had people give a $100 bill, $50 bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when people would come back, wow.
I know, to come back and
And thank us for doing this.
Yes. And come over to our house and get
And
more books.
get more books.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
yeah,
call
people
us.
come to your house.
Or call us up.
Yeah.
Call us up. And we had one man call us up and he said he hadn't seen the movie, but he would like the book.
Yeah.
You know, and he wanted two of them. But one of the I can't remember which night it was, but one night we had just one family, one person come.
Yes.
One person, but they brought their whole family.
Wow.
And it looked like they were homeschoolers.
Yes.
And they said, no, just one book's all we need.
Yes.
And that's all we gave away that night.
Wow.
And the reason there was only one, there was a very low
Yeah.
attendance is because it was probably during like about
Yeah.
10 degrees above the
Yes, it's cold.
snowstorm. And I gotta think
That will explain.
I had to thank my husband because, you know, it's like we had a lot of people work, but as the weather got colder and the snow, you know, the weather changed,
Yeah,
you know,
some good
the
night.
seasons change. And because of that, you know, it was a lot easier for us to go over to the theater because we were very close, whereas other people had to drive maybe 15, 20 miles. And so we just kept going back.
Yeah.
And back and back.
Yeah.
And at one point, I just said, I just am tired of going back because we'd have to go late at night because they were down to like one showing a day.
Okay.
You know, as the movie progressed
Yeah.
through its run, and it would be a late showing. So at 8:15 at night in the cold, dark weather.
I would say, honey, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I would say, I don't want to go. And he said, let's do it. And we would. And we'd come back just absolutely having a ball because we were so happy that
I mean, Wisconsin in the wintertime, really.
it's winter.
I know, 10 above. You
Yes.
just, you just reminded me of the,
Yes.
the thrill, the thrill of the chill.
Yeah, right. You can have it.
But it did make an impact on you because and the thing about it is, as you've seen, there are points in life where the Lord gives us the privilege as a people
Yeah.
to just be a part of something great.
Amen.
And something transformative, which was the case here. We had thousands of books given out here. I'm sure the people in Florida probably were out in maybe a large number. You don't have to worry about weather.
Yeah.
And the different parts of the nation that were involved in this. And this was a coast-to-coast involvement. When Remnant talked about the number of books that were produced and the people that called in for books. And these are lives, just to put this, there are people you met that when you get to the kingdom,
Amen.
they might say, remember me? It was like only 10 above, and our whole family was
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Would that be an occasion to just praise
Absolutely.
God?
Well worth it.
Yeah.
Well worth
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So the blessing is on.
The go.
The blessing is on the go.
Go and get to work.
Go and get to work. And 3ABN is also, and I'm going to go back to your story in just a moment here, because you took this to another level and you got involved. You brought some pictures to talk about some other community outreaches that were inspiring to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the time to talk about that.
I was asked to be Community Services Director last year, and I had done it many years ago and kind of backed out of it for a while for a lot of reasons. But I just came into it with a different focus, and I think being more in the community kind of thing, and looking for ways that we can both help church members be inspired and also to help actually provide something that's needed. And I think another turning point for me was last year at our Wisconsin camp meeting. I went to see a community services presentation, and he talked about finding a need in your community and meeting that need, rather than thinking of whatever idea it is you might have and think, I want to do this program, without maybe seeing if your community really needs that program.
That's right.
So that really kind of resonated with me, which is why I thought the Hacksaw Ridge thing was such a good tie-in with the homeless veteran shelter. So I started looking at some things we have going on, and I have to say I have an advantage because what I do professionally. I've been a social worker for a number of years, so I kind of have a leg up on people in finding the need, but anybody can do it. You really don't have to look very far. You know, you can do a Google search, a newspaper search. You can talk to your human services agency in your county and find out what do you have locally that might be a project in need. And our area has a pretty high suicide rate, and we also have a large methamphetamine problem, and a lot of children being put into foster care in the surrounding counties. So some of the first things that we did is we brought in training for the church members first on, it's a program called Question, Persuade, and Refer, and it's a suicide prevention program. So it's to teach everyday people, lay people, how to talk to somebody if you think that they may be in danger of suicide. So we brought that into the church and did some training, and we're planning on another one probably later this year. And one day I saw a news story locally, and this was the first big project I came with, and it talked about the needs for the Drug Endangered Children program. You know, when kids are removed, a lot of their belongings and everything are contaminated because of the drug use in the home. So they wanted law enforcement and the social workers to have backpacks with necessary items for these kids. So we did a very large donation drive with the church. I think we were collecting for 4 to 6 weeks off of the list. And we donated that all to the Eau Claire County Drug Endangered Children program. And our local law enforcement actually then assembled the backpacks for the kids.
Wow.
And it came to me later through another avenue that the Altoona police chief was actually aware of our church through doing that. That because some of his staff had helped assemble the backpacks, and they were told that, you know, that church, the Adventist church in your community donated these items.
Look at that. So put your name in a positive light.
Right.
Wow, okay.
And that's kind of my goal, is to be out there and for people to know who we are. And we were talking about this last night, actually. You know, I want some of the agencies to think, you know, we've got this need. The Adventist Church has helped us with this before. Let's give them a call.
That's right.
That's my goal.
That's a very good outreach, a very good mindset to come to the program with, because when your name becomes synonymous with, we've been seeing these people a lot. They were at the movie theater, now they're doing a fundraiser and raising for people that have other needs and other community necessities. Wow, they're a pretty active and connected church. Let's find out what drives them. And I like the fact that I think one of you asked the question or mentioned the question, somebody asked you, why? Why are you doing this? When you begin with the why, then you can go to the how and then the what you do. Why you do it is the most important thing. But sometimes we often start with the what we believe and how we worship rather than beginning with the why. If you start with the why, then it motivates you. Why do we do this? Because we love people, because we want to make a difference in our community, because we want to lead people to Christ. But instead of doing it the way that is uncomfortable for them, you meet them where they are.
Right.
And you brought some pictures.
Yeah, we did. And this was from another outreach that we did over Christmas. And we have an organization called the Wellness Shack in Eau Claire, and it's a peer-run center for persons with mental illness.
Is this a quilt? What are they doing?
We are making tie blankets in there, and that's our head deaconess and her granddaughter.
Okay.
Making these. So we decided to do Christmas gifts for the consumers at the Wellness Shack. We wanted to look out and find somebody who may be forgotten, because there's lots of toy programs for kids at Christmas, and so a lot of the consumers there have mental illness and substance abuse problems, maybe homeless, and really forgotten people. So we had a total of 40 tie blankets, and then we made 40 gift bags, and I think those are shown in another picture, where we put together some basic necessities, and we got the list of what would be needed from the director at the Wellness
Definitely
Shack.
gloves when you have that go with it.
So we put these together in little tie backpacks, and we had those down there for their Christmas party in December.
Look at
For the
that,
Wellness
look at
Shack.
that. And was there one more picture?
There are a couple more. This is an ongoing ministry we've had for a long time, and this is serving meals at the community table,
Okay.
Which serves meals every day, 7 days a week, and it's all volunteer organizations that come in and prepare and serve the meals. So we have a couple pictures here of our church members down there serving at the community table.
It's called the community table. That's something that people are familiar with, a point of touch.
Yes.
Where people come and get their needs.
Yep.
Their needs
Yep, they
met.
have those every day. But I think the thing I'm kind of most excited about at this point is we're in the very beginning stages of forming a partnership with an organization called Fierce Freedom, and they're local, actually.
Did you say what's the name of the other?
Fierce Freedom.
Fierce Freedom. Okay.
And they are a local, literally down the street from our church. And I'm not even sure how I stumbled. I just think, God led me
The Lord
there.
led you. That's right.
And they're an anti-human trafficking organization, and they do a lot of stuff locally. And we brought them in, and they did a presentation for our church to talk about human trafficking and what we can do. And we have a lot of church members who are really excited about doing some type of work with this organization. So the church has become a sponsor they have a justice run in July. And it's on a Wednesday evening, and it's a fundraiser. So the church has become a sponsor for their Justice Run. We'll have our logo on their T-shirts, and we also will be able to have a table at the event, and we may put items in their goodie bags for the runners. So they're going to have 500 goodie bags, and we have a board meeting next week, actually, so I'm going to be talking to the board about what we might be able to put in the goodie bag for the runners.
Wonderful. This, starting with the Blessings on the Go, the Hacksaw Ridge project, meeting people, and then Michelle, the Lord inspires her, hey, this is just the beginning. And so the Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church is known as, they are people that reach out. Not just say come in, but they come out. They come out and make a difference in our community. But I can't ignore these shirts that are sitting here.
You like them?
I can't ignore them. They're about radio, and I want to have Orv tell us about another inspirational touch point that 3ABN impacted.
Well, before I started talking about the radio station, I'd just like to really emphasize, you may not have any talents. You may not have a project. But if you get inspiration, because this is how the Hacksaw Ridge started. Marcia and I, after we heard the program, we said, we got to do this. It was like that.
That's right.
And people just need to do that, And maybe it'll be, we weren't sure who was going to get involved, how many people, but look what happened with just 2 couples. I mean, almost 40 people.
Yeah.
That's a dream come true.
Amen.
And so I would just encourage, regardless of how old you are, I'm 75 plus.
Are you
If I can, well, I'll be 76 in September. So anyway, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But here's the key. The key is that you have a thought, and you have that thought over how many times, and sooner or later that thought's going to go away because you kind of seared the thought. And you get a thought, act on it.
Very good point.
And you may just like with leading into the radio station, like what happened with the radio station. Someone says, "Or would you have a little time to maybe help get the station online?" Well, that was October 31st. The station's license run out December 31st. Now the station was put up without land, without money, without anything, and a guy who had no experience. But in 40 days, the money was there, the land was there, the permits all got put through the system like they have to be. And sometimes permits are hard to get.
Yes.
You just don't go down there and get a permit. Well, anyway, within 40 days, the station went from nothing to an on-the-air station.
Praise the Lord.
What a blessing. I'm just happy to be part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hold
Your
this shirt
state,
proudly so that
Now
people that
that's-
are driving through your area could
Yep.
tune into
Yep.
103.5 FM, your total lifestyle network.
Pastor Lomacang, that's actually one of 3 stations.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That is
Yes.
from the station over in Menominee that
Yes.
Orv managed for 7 years.
And where is that again?
And Menominee, down the road, there's 3 stations
Yeah.
within a triangle of about 30 miles from each other.
Look at that.
There's also a station at the actual church site itself, 96.9.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's also the one that was built in 40 days,
days.
on a piece of land that was donated by a dear lady, Helen Peck. And her son, Oswald Peck, got together a crew to put in the tower, put in the building, do the construction. Len Fast up in the Rice Lake Church put the equipment together, and Orv project manager it. And that's the one that went up in 40 days.
Yep.
Almost in the middle of the winter, too. I guess we must like doing projects in the winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know, whatever
Yeah.
whatever you start will be frozen into place.
Yes, right.
It'll be preserved through the winter
To
time.
show you how God works, when the tower was to be put up,
Yes,
the ground wasn't frozen yet.
yes.
And this truck came in. It was like a cement truck. It was
a crane. It was a crane
with
to
the
lift
cement
the
truck.
tower, yeah.
Anyway, to get that in there, the land had to be frozen. And guess what? God froze the land
The night before.
the night before.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Isn't that great?
That I mean,
What a blessing.
that could only happen in Wisconsin in the wintertime. I mean,
So we don't have T-shirts from all 3 stations, but
Yeah.
I think we're going to make some more designs here
Yeah.
pretty soon. We're actually going to the fair this summer.
Northern
There's
Wisconsin
a rather
Fair, yeah.
large county-wide,
Yeah.
many county fair. And so people at the fair will probably see T-shirts with the other radio stations listed. They'll probably see more Hacksaw Ridge books, and they will most likely, God willing, remember seeing us someplace else, and we'll
Yeah.
still be their friends again.
that's right.
And who knows what projects we'll come up with then, Michelle, as we
I
talk
know.
to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to be promoting Family Home Christian Books, which
yeah.
is
At the
another
fair.
project we heard on
3ABN.
3ABN.
Look at that.
And so, and it's just another outreach that we'll be doing
3ABN has become your one-stop shopping inspirational network.
for the Total
Amen.
Lifestyle Network.
Amen.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's wonderful about that, for those of you who know, 3ABN is also a radio. My
Yes.
wife works for 3ABN Radio, and sometimes it's more convenient because you're driving depending on going through communities. Here we have DeQuoin is the radio station we have here, 95.9 on the FM dial. And when people are driving through here, they listen to 3ABN Radio, and my wife, praise the Lord, is doing something she never thought she would ever do.
Yeah.
Producing and editing programs on 3ABN Radio.
Wow.
But now talk about some of the needs you have, because there are future projects that the Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church want to be involved in. You just alluded to some of those tables when it comes to, is it a county fair? Is that what I'm
It's a
hearing?
large, many county fair, the district.
It's called Northern Wisconsin State Fair.
Yeah.
It's next to Milwaukee. Milwaukee's the state fair. Well, Chippewa Falls has kind of adapted or whatever to the northern Wisconsin State Fair.
So talk about some of the needs that you foresee being there so that we could challenge our viewers and listeners to participate in that, because, hey, the need for funds to get some more of these books, continue to inspire the production of more T-shirts, get out in the community. I mean, people like to get involved in that.
I guess I would just like to, there's a couple other ministries that are being done that I'd just like to touch on really quickly.
Sure.
One is our home and school coordinator, Darcy Peterson, has been coordinating a 5K for the last couple of years, and all the proceeds from that 5K go to the city of Altoona for parks equipment. So that's kind of put us on the map in terms of that locally. And pastor, we have a wonderful musically talented pastor who has done a really wonderful Easter program with the entire church the last 2 years. I mean, everybody gets involved, the kids, and I wish I had thought to bring pictures of that. And this year when we did the Easter program, pastor suggested that we take a free will donation the 2 evenings of the show, and one night we donated it to Fierce Freedom, and the second night we donated to an organization called the Chippewa Valley Street Ministry, which is another one I'm looking at potentially doing some more work with. And they literally work, they call it a ministry, but it's really a service organization where they hand out clothing, shoes, gloves to people who are homeless in the community, and they're out 2 nights a week. And what we're looking at possibly is developing a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening team from our church, but that's always, in kind of stay tuned to see where that goes.
I like that.
But that's some other things that are being involved. So we have an incredibly supportive and involved church, and we have a wonderful group of people that show up whenever we say we need volunteers to serve a meal, we need volunteers to hand out books. There are people there.
Wow, I like the fact that you talked about that, just getting involved in the community. There's a principle, there's I call it a reciprocal principle. Give, and it shall be given to you.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so as your church gets involved in giving to the community, it's amazing, because a lot of churches get involved in how much money can we raise coming into our coffers. But if I'm listening carefully, and what church is doing is you're raising money to make a difference in this area, that area, in different parts of the community. And the Lord is blessing your bottom line in your own church, because the membership is saying, we exist, we have a purpose.
Right.
And God is inspiring us to do other things. Anything else? Anybody else you want to add to the story? Because I know that you showed a large contingency of people that were on that screen. And praise the Lord that your pastor is a significant part of the inspiration. That makes a difference. But what are some of the things that you see being a part of the future outreach of your church, Marcia?
I would just carry on, and if God gives us another idea, we would be, blessed to follow it. I mean, one of the things we were sincerely thinking of doing, and it's still going round and round in the brain, is that our church has the distinctive doctrine of the sanctuary, and we were really considering trying to do a little bit of an outreach at the fair, just showing the sanctuary model, basically asking, where is Jesus now and what is he doing? And then tying that in with, you can hear more on the radio station, you can read more in the Family Home Christian Book, Century Children's Classics. We're trying to wrap it all up into one. But that's a project still in the works. I guess if I would say anything to anybody, it's God is speaking to our hearts all the time. And, sometimes we take an idea and we just let it pass through, like Orv said. But if he keeps bringing it back, I think it's really best to listen.
That's right.
And as we listen, to just trust that he'll bring us the people to do what we're supposed to do, and to just go forward. And I especially enjoy getting to understand Michelle's approach to community service better too, because I can see how the chance to form partnerships out in the community serves a dual purpose of getting our name out just on a just here we are basis, as well, and giving people the opportunity to serve, as well as actually performing the service. And so I really like that approach to community service. Orv and I did not grow up Adventists, and Michelle didn't either. We're actually, Orv and I
Late
are the
bloomers.
product of an evangelism campaign where Dan Benziger came by and
1994.
in December 10th, 1994, we were baptized.
Amen.
Yeah, he was actually a spiritualist minister, and we met at a seance a long time ago. So God has done a tremendous work on us. He had a lot of cleaning up to do on us.
No
He did
kidding.
a really good job. And I found out that Michelle and I were both raised in the same faith in the past. And you actually were introduced to the faith at a evangelism seminar.
Yeah,
so.
my sister married an Adventist, and I was 16 or 17, and she took me to an evangelism series. And it took me a few years, I think about 17, but before I actually set foot in the church.
Wow, what a transformation to come out of from a seance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Lord, the Holy Spirit broke in.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. There are spirits out there, which you all know
yes.
now, and you talk about that.
All too well,
That's
unfortunately.
another program for another day. But but how God finds us.
Amen.
And gives us a purpose.
Yes, yes.
And now you're unashamed of the gospel. You're sharing that in a beautiful way. You know, I want to give the opportunity to those who are watching the program to get the address. And we're going to come back with a song, and then we're going to go to a news break, and then give you an opportunity to wrap it up on the other side of our news break. But here is the information that you need to be able to participate, whether prayerfully or financially, in the outreach of the Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church.
If you would like to contact this church, then you can do so by writing to Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church, 919 10th Street West, Altoon, Wisconsin 54720. That's Chippewa Valley Seventh-day Adventist Church, 919 10th Street West, Altoon, Wisconsin 54720. You can call 715-834-1782. That's 715-834-1782. Or visit them online at cvadventist.lakeunion.org. That's cvadventist.lakeunion.org.
Chippewa Valley. Tell me about that area. Is it mountainous? Is it just because when I say Chippewa, I think of Native Americans. You know, a lot of people that you talked about some of the challenges in the community. You mentioned drug, and they're veterans, and they're homeless. So you see your church reaching out and making a difference in those areas. Tell me, give me some of that insight of how your church, not only through these programs, but how you see your church fitting in to continue to be a lighthouse in that area.
Well, our church is growing. In fact, we're starting to look at a new building, or possibly a building. So that's a benefit of our church outreach.
Okay.
And and so you just put it in God's hands through prayer, and He'll lead you.
That's right.
But it takes a lot of work. I mean, let's face it. You have to get up and you have to do things.
That's right.
You know, and so.
Well, as you're beginning to all see, the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you've heard that before. And Michelle has a newfound drive and passion to get out into the community. Social work was one way, but now the Lord has bent your tree a different direction.
I think so, absolutely. And I've been in an administrative position for the last few years, and so I don't get as much of the direct care that I think I need. I think I was born a social worker. But, you know, again, I just want people to understand that you don't have to be a social worker to be able to do this. You just have to ask some questions and get out in your community, and you can find where those needs are, and you can meet them. You don't have to have the same background. I have an advantage, but anybody can do it.
That's right. And we've seen the same thing in Marcia's life. And both of you together are serving the Lord where He took you from and where He has planted you.
Right.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful.
And, you know, in the context of this next song, before we go to our news break, I could see this is so true in the lives of Michelle, Marcia, and Orv. I have never loved him better than today.
Amen.
Since Jesus came and found me, and he put his arms around me, and all my binding fetters took away. Although I loved him dearly and trusted him sincerely, I've never loved him better than today. I've never loved him better than today. Never felt him closer along the way. And oh, how sweet the feeling when in his presence kneeling. I've never loved him better than today. Oh, blessed Prince Supernal, my hope and joy eternal, keep now my soul till shadows flee away. Anoint me, I would pray, Lord, till ends this pilgrim's way, Lord. I've never loved him better than today. I've never loved him better than today. I've never felt him closer along the way. And oh, how sweet the feeling when in his presence kneeling. I've never loved him better than today. I've never loved him better. No, I've never loved him better. No, I've never loved him better than today.
Well, our prayer is that you enjoyed our program today, and not only enjoyed the program, but maybe the Lord planted a thought in your mind. As Orv says, if the thought keeps showing up, maybe you ought to do something. And the Lord wants us to participate in the joy, in the beauty of getting this message out to our local communities. You know, as Michelle said, you may not be an evangelist, you may not want to stand up and preach a sermon, but everybody could do that. Somebody could reach out and make a difference in someone else's life. So I'm going to give each one of our guests, who I'd like to thank you for coming today, and I'll start with Marcia. What would you say to those listening and watching this program? How would you challenge them?
Pastor Lomacang, I would say that if God tells you to do something and you don't think you can do it, and you're positive you can't do it, and you don't know how to do it anyway.
I like that.
All right? And for myself and my husband, the older you get, the more fun you'll have doing it.
Okay, I like that. Age is not an excuse. No. Michelle, how would you challenge those watching the program?
I would say get out there and make a difference. Look for places that need your help. You don't have to start a ministry from scratch. You don't have to do something that's not being done. You can find a way to meet a need in the community. If you're a small church or a small group, you can still get out there and make a difference. Okay,
and Orv, 20 seconds.
All the projects that we've worked on started with one person, had an idea. And Hacksaw Ridge, almost 40 people, you can have an impact if you're willing to open your mouth and say, yeah, I think I can.
That's right, I think I can. And you know, the Bible says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The Lord will never call you to it if he can't carry you through it.
Amen.
He'll never choose you except he comes in and to begin to work in you to will and to do of his good pleasure. So on behalf of 3ABN and all of our staff, we want to thank you for tuning in, and also on behalf of Michelle, Marcia, and Orv, thank you so much for coming here today. May the Lord reach into you, plant a seed, and make a difference in your life to the world around you. Until we see you again, God bless you.